on supporting micro-enterprises. I know we have this very formal seating arrangement, but I think let's be very informal in this small group. I won't go into the details of introducing the panelists. You will find the details of their profile and their work on the app because we've got very limited time. We've got about an hour. So how I thought I wanted to structure the next hour was to let each panelist have about 15 minutes each to make their presentation. And then we won't take questions during the presentation. And then I'd like to divide the group, the audience, into two groups. We've got two flip charts out here. And the two broad questions that we wanted to discuss today was the first one being some of the comments or questions you have on their projects that has been presented here today. And the second one is how do we kind of some feedback and some innovative ideas from the participants on how they can better the impact of their program. So some ideas that you may have that they could include in their programs that could probably help them improve the impact of their programs. So without much delay, I'll hand over the floor to Aniket. I think many of you were present in the earlier session. Robin cited his work. So there is a very innovative for-profit model that he's going to be presenting for the next 15 minutes. Over to you, Anirudh.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am today going to present my work at Haqdarshak. At Haqdarshak, our main goal is that how do we get citizens entitlements. I'll just quickly go through what the company does and what is the problem, what is the solution that we're working on, and then I'll get into the impact because I'll get into the data in terms of numbers we have achieved so far. And also then in the end, I want to go through a couple of case studies of our women entrepreneurs. So essentially we are a technology content training company. We have developed a AI-based rules engine and which matches the citizen's profile to the set of schemes. The government and private schemes are researched and stored on a private cloud. And the model is that we trained community level entrepreneurs on the ground who are mostly women linked to self-help groups in rural India. And they are the ones who deliver this. So the app or website is today not on Play Store, it's not public. It's only given to our entrepreneurs at the community level. What's the problem we are trying to solve? Essentially in India, about $200 billion is the amount that is budgeted every year by the government. And just to give you a comparison, last year $150 billion was budgeted, out of which about $90 billion was actually spent by the government compared to about $3 billion just spent directly by the private sector on different programs in terms of CSR. So the government is the huge, big spender in terms of bringing people from the bottom of the pyramid up. So but the main issue is that most of these programs and schemes are meant for people at the bottom of the pyramid. And that is where there is the maximum digital and literacy divide. So you're designing programs for people who have no idea what these programs are. Are they eligible for them? And in every state in India, India has 30 states, there are over 1,500 schemes. In states like Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh, by the way, has a population of 240 million. It would be the 7th largest country in the world had it been a country on its own in terms of population. And that state has 2,500 schemes for people. And most of the government officials at the block level don't know what these schemes are. So what is the solution? We have created a repository of schemes. We go at the state level. We have an in-house research team. At the state level, we have about 30 people working in different states. We are in 10 states right now. They digitize the schemes. They go to the offices. They go to departments at the state. Get this information. Get the process of how to apply. What are the documents required to apply for these schemes? There are a lot of information that is required. As I said, we have an AI-based proprietary rule engine which matches the scheme data to the citizen profile. And then we tell the citizen that these are the exact schemes you are eligible for. And because our focus is rural India, where people do not yet have, all of them don't have smartphones. The smartphone penetration that is there, which we all hear on the news that India has now over 1 billion smartphones. That is usually with the male member of the family. And they do not have smartphones which can download, where they can download a lot of apps. So it's still a long way where people will start downloading and using apps like Haqdarshak. So our model is use an entrepreneur who can deliver that content through their mobile phones to the entire community. The process, the citizen, the Haqdarshak goes, so this is like a Haqdarshak, this is one of our team members actually, who's screening people in Rajasthan. This is the Rajasthan photograph. And they go, they ask citizens through the mobile phone, the profile, it matches the schemes, and then they collect the information, then the citizen decides. So this is the most important point here, because the idea is a market-driven choice to be given to the citizens. We tell the citizen of all the schemes, you are eligible for 40 schemes. They are rated by us. We tell them what is the budget for these schemes, can you apply for them, and then the citizen chooses what scheme I want to apply for. Do I want to go for a loan scheme? Do I want to go for a scholarship? Do I want to go for an insurance? Do I want to go for a pension scheme, health scheme, education? Basis their priority, basis their willingness to pay for that service. And that is where then the Haqdarshak, the entrepreneur, helps them in the form filling. Because 90% of this application happens offline. It is still not gone online. Let's take just to give more clarity, let's take an example that, this is a typical woman in rural India. She is from Rajasthan. She is a widow. Has a daughter whose marriage is fixed. Her income per year is $800. But her problem is that she wants to get her daughter married and she needs financial assistance. So Haqdarshak comes, or Haqdarshika comes to her community and tells her that, if you answer these set of questions, and there are about such 40, 50 detailed questions, it's a dynamic questionnaire. So basis your last answer, the next question comes up. She'll be able to tell her that what schemes she is eligible for. So right now, one scheme came up, which is a marriage assistance scheme in Rajasthan for daughters of poor widows, which is a Bhamasha scheme. She not only gets the information, she also, the Haqdarshak helps her with the complicated forms, different forms that are required to fill to get the benefit. Also a lot of documents or proofs of identity in India, which are required to fill for required to be filled for every application. And this she does for a service charge, which is nominal, about $4 to $5 on an average. So that's what she pays, the citizen pays to the entrepreneur. And that's how she makes about $100 a month on an average as her earning. It's a complete entrepreneurial model. We don't pay any salaries to these entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs. They earn about on an average $80 to $100 a month in their communities. So these are, as I said, our revenue model. We have direct Haqdarshaks in communities. We also have franchise models. We partner with a lot of non-profits who have networks on ground. Some of the challenges that we face are poor connectivity in rural areas. All our content is in local vernacular languages. So that is primarily then helps us to reach out to all kinds of women entrepreneurs. Then language is not a barrier. It's a simple technology. So all we do is to train them on the app. We don't train them on how the scheme works, because everything is already there on the platform. But still there are, the mobile app works offline, so that whenever there is no internet, they can actually go ahead and do work, and whenever this internet is there, it gets synced to the cloud. So they actually don't need internet, because most of the times when they are inside the community, internet won't work. And there are other challenges that we are facing in terms of scaling up. We are scaling up, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement in terms of building capacity, training this network. So far, we have channelized over $3 million of government money. This is in 1 year, 12 months. As I said, the Haqdarshika, the entrepreneur, earns about $75 to $100 a month. These Haqdarshikas have earned over 100,000 cumulatively in the last 1 year as livelihoods. And we are present in 10 states of India as of today. Now I'm going to focus a little bit more on these big numbers in terms of impact. These are the broad areas where we work in terms of impact. As I said, we are not focused on any particular sector. We're sector agnostic. We basically focus on the citizen's profile, citizen's choice. Basis their choice, we pick up all kinds of schemes. It can be any scheme under the sun for us. All programs, private, government. We also do a lot of private scholarships, private insurance, private loans, whatever, and give the citizen the choice, whatever they want to choose. As I said, $3 million of government money channelized, employment. We also have now 3,500 plus schemes on our cloud, which is across these 10 states, digitized. And the total number of citizens we have screened is now over 76,000. The unique schemes, diverse schemes applied for is 520, which means out of the 3,500 schemes, which is, it's a data to look both ways. We have been able to get people 500 unique schemes. But out of 3,500 schemes, the issue is 2,000 don't have budgets. At any given point of time, the states don't have budgets for schemes which people are actually eligible for. So there is a big question mark in terms of policy that how are the governments designing these schemes and budgeting for them at the state level. 80% of our proportion of Haqdarshaks are women, and I'll quickly talk about why that happened. It was not by design. When we started, we actually started by training all kinds of community people. Last year, with Acumen, we did a data audit and wanted to see that, what's been the impact, what's been Haqdarshak, how are Haqdarshaks perceived in the community. We found a staggering fact we did 200 Haqdarshak survey, 5,000 citizen survey. 46% cases came up where a Haqdarshak had overcharged. I'm sure by now you must have had this question, what is Haqdarshaks? Overcharge, what happens? And we have helplines in place, MNE, which we are improving on. But all these 46% cases were of men Haqdarshaks. Not a single case against a woman Haqdarshak in communities. And that's why, till date, now we focus more and more with self-help groups and women entrepreneurs on ground, and our quality and our with the community, the connect with the community has increased tremendously. So we're still figuring out getting into more data of why that has happened. But quantitatively, that has really pushed us to kind of find the right fit for our Haqdarshak entrepreneurs. Here one important fact that I want to talk about in terms of the figures are in INR rupees, but we've spent close to about $800,000, 4.5 crore rupees so far on the project. And we have been able to generate citizen benefits of 25 crores. And this is just in a 1 year of operation. This is something that we've been able to do because entirely everything is based on a platform-based, product-based model. So we've been able to push schemes, but at the same time we are very clear that product and technology is just to make that ground level impact is just a means. To reach that eventual outcome, the bigger part is played by this entrepreneur with the assisted service on ground. So the idea is that now increasing 5 times the spend, we can actually cover the government funds distributed by 100 times. Our goal is to do about $10 million of funding in the next 2 years, which can lead to about $500 million of government money channelized to communities. These are some of the voices from the ground, some Haqdarshak, some citizens, what they have seen. And I also want to now talk about particular Haqdarshak story. Now this is data from December 2017 only, 1 month. This is one of our Haqdarshaks in Maharashtra. This is a village in Maharashtra, Akola. It's in one of the driest areas of Maharashtra. She used to earn, as you can see, she used to earn from farm work. She works 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and she was able to earn about 16,000 rupees using the platform, and able to channelize about 3 lakh rupees of government funds through the platform, which is about $5,000. And so a lot of her work initially, it didn't happen in a month. We trained her, and a lot of things that she faced initially was that the reluctance to go in the community and charge her own community. The biggest issue and roadblock that we faced initially was, why are you charging for this? Why can't you do this for free? But we were very, very determined to create a revenue generation model for this, so that for it to sustain, to create a win-win for the partner NGOs, to create a win-win for the community networks, and also, as you can see, with government money channelized, we are getting a lot of support even from the government and private sector now in terms of pushing their programs. Similarly, this is another story from another district in Maharashtra. Jalna district has one of the highest tribal populations in Maharashtra. And she again was able to push a lot of schemes. Some of the schemes applied for, right at the left-hand top corner, you can see are some of the flagship programs of the central government, which include housing, cleanliness, sanitation, health, LPG gas connections. We've also had similar stories from Rajasthan. Rajasthan, now we are actually implementing a project with the Chief Minister, where we are setting up one Haqdarshak in each of the 9,800 Gram Panchayats. So we're working with a couple of organizations, where in the next 1 year, the plan is to set this up in all the Gram Panchayats of Rajasthan. We've got, not being an advocate of government, actually we've been, I found it easier to work with the government rather than I don't want to name any big organizations, but I found it a lot easier to work with the government if you have the right kind of product, right kind of platform, and the right kind of approach, where you are actually working to not replace them but assist them. If you go in with what I've observed is, if you go in with a mindset or thinking that, we are going to have a solution which is going to replace your existing solution, it never works. If it's going to assist, and if it's going to complement, and slowly they've adopted our technology. They are going to adopt our technology for 45,000 of their existing kiosks and e-centers, service centers. Haqdarshak is going to be used as a service there. But, so we have got a lot of support in Rajasthan. We have, as I said, like a lot of women entrepreneurs going there. And this is another very interesting state, Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh, as you must have heard in a couple of other sessions, the one with around blockchain as well. The entire pilot was happening in Andhra Pradesh. And the reason for that is it's one of the states where a lot of micro enterprises have traditionally got a lot of good response because of the supportive government again, and the literacy levels are higher. Our average income earned per entrepreneur here is much lower, but the concentration of entrepreneurs is much higher. So our reach to citizens per Gram Panchayat is actually much, much higher. There we have a larger number of entrepreneurs actually earning over $100 a month. So there is no, so again the reach is massive. And yeah, these are some of the other awards that we have got, and we are now a 80-member team, and we are also looking to use this technology going forward to not only India but also some other relevant countries in especially South Asia, where we can use this and push the government and private welfare programs. Thank you. Look forward to the questions.
Thank you, Aniket. Just a minute to jot down some of the questions you may already have before we start with Basanta. We are not taking questions right now, so we'll take it after both the panelists are done. Okay. Okay. Up next is Basanta Adhikari from Bikalpa, and he's going to be talking about his innovative research that he's done on e-rickshaws in Biratnagar in Nepal.
Do I need to use microphone? I think that everyone can hear. Is it okay? Yeah? Hello everyone. Is it possible? Hello everyone. I'm Basanta Adhikari. I'm from Bikalpa-an Alternative. I'm based in Nepal. So hope everyone is enjoying time in Jakarta, and now it's time to depart. So I will be speaking on city rickshaw issues. It's a barrier to entry issue. The case study conducted in Biratnagar. So this is e-rickshaw. It's electric rickshaw. So I'm going to talk about this. So I would like to start from the story. So the guy name is Kapil. I met this guy in front of the traffic police office where there were a lot of city rickshaw in a queue. And I asked this guy, so why are these e-rickshaw in front of the traffic police? And he mentioned that because this e-rickshaw has been seized by the traffic police because they don't have got the registration. And I owned one of those e-rickshaw. I got his number, and tomorrow we met our office. And I come to know that he is from a poor family who is doing a minimal job. Later on, he went to Saudi Arabia, where he was supposed to get a good job, but he did not get the job which was mentioned in the agreement. And he got the job, which was very difficult. He had to work 15-16 hours in Qatar. And after 4 months, he got ill and had to come back to Nepal. So after getting recovery, so he saw e-rickshaw, a new transport in Biratnagar, and tried to get some loan and invested on that one. And later on, he realized it's not easy to pursue the livelihood through the means of e-rickshaw because the government put a quota. The registration was not open, so that's why every time the traffic police got him, so he had to pay the fine. So about e-rickshaw, talking about the e-rickshaw, it's a newly introduced transport system in Nepal. Around in 2013-14, these e-rickshaw were introduced, and it's eco-friendly. It's also cost-effective. The pedal rickshaw, which were charging around 80 rupees per individual, so they brought down the price to 30 rupees. And then it provides door-to-door service to the customers. Also, reduced our petroleum dependency. Why I'm saying this is because government of Nepal has got a monopoly on petroleum fuel or gas import and distribution. So many times we have got this crisis, a shortage of the petroleum products. And at this time, these e-rickshaw provide the alternative service to us. And it also generates the employment inside the country, because every day we are sending our young youths outside of the country, around 1,200 to 1,500 people outside of the country for the level market, and we are receiving 3 to 4 dead bodies out of those. And it costs around $1,700 to $3,500, so which is very expensive compared to its model. So depending on the model, the price varies. The situation in Biratnagar, so since the beginning, it was criticized also, and it was also appreciated. This means of transport was criticized and appreciated. Biratnagar metropolitan city, in the beginning, they allowed only 100 registration for the e-rickshaw. Later on, they increased the quota and they stopped the registration in 300. So when we were doing the research, we feel that we need to conduct the research, because it's a public policy issues, and if it is going to affect many people, so that's why we feel to conduct a research on this. And while we were doing our e-rickshaw research, there were around 500 to 600 e-rickshaw. We don't know the exact number because nobody has got the exact number at the time. So now it's in 2,500 in number in Biratnagar. So to get the permission, to get the registration, one have to go to the municipality, and through the municipality, after getting the permission, they have to go to the Department of Transport, and then only they can register. And also, Biratnagar municipality, they allocated 10 routes for these e-rickshaw. They cannot pick the passenger from the highway, but the rules has not been strictly implemented, but still government on and off they try to impose these rules. And there is going to be a big conflict within the e-rickshaw drivers and the traffic police and the government office. So the methodology we use is the primary data and the secondary data. The snowball sampling and the random sampling method were used. We did a focus group discussion with the municipal authorities. We did a focus group discussion with the e-rickshaw drivers, e-rickshaw unions, and the e-rickshaw traders. And we also reached the government officer to understand the legal side. So we went to Department of Transport and we went to municipal authorities and the traffic authorities. Besides that, to understand the demand side, we designed a consumer questionnaire, and then we did the survey with them. So SPSS was used for the data entry and analysis, and the survey questionnaire was divided into 4 parts: to understand the ownership, ease of access to finance, registration process, difficulties faced by the e-rickshaw due to the legality issues. The statement of the problem is that the government decision to regulate the e-rickshaw through the quota system will distort the market. So that is what we feel, and then which will prevent the customers getting the good service. And it will also create a difficulty for the low-income drivers who want to pursue their livelihood. And at last, the people who have already invested their money in e-rickshaw, so they have to face the difficulties, or their investment is going to be useless. So objective of the study was to see how the barrier to entry has created impact on the livelihood of the e-rickshaw drivers, and to see what is the cost of the barrier to entry to the general public. Our finding says that 87% of the people, e-rickshaw drivers or owners, so they only have got a primary level of education. It means that they don't have the skills, they don't have got a good level of education. And 85% of the e-rickshaw drivers, they want to own the e-rickshaw. They don't want to hire the e-rickshaw, and they don't want to ride the rented rickshaw, because ownership means you have a chance of earning more money, because you don't have to pay half of the amount to the owner. And 67% of the rickshaw were registered. So legality means it will determine how much you can earn. So if you are not registered, then you have to pay the fines if you are caught by the traffic police. So it means that if you are legal, if you are registered, then you don't have any problem. You can fly everywhere. But if you don't have the registration, then you cannot fly in the market. So you can be caught by the police. So you have to hide, and then you have to ride the e-rickshaw. So 71% of the people, or the drivers, they took the loans from the cooperatives, because these people, it shows that these people are from the poor background. So they have to take the money either through the friends, through the relatives, or through the microfinance or the big financial institution. But yeah, it shows, the record shows that 71% around, they took the money from the loan from the cooperatives, because if they go through the big financial institution, the process is going to be very lengthy, and it may take a long time, and so that's why they rely on the cooperatives, and cooperatives, they are going to charge them higher interest rate. So 82% of the respondents says that they put the collateral at their private property as the collateral, and in absence of proper guidelines for the registration and licensing procedure, so these e-rickshaw drivers have to face difficulties in ensuring their legal status. So in case of accident, so even if they have got the insurance policy, they buy the insurance policy, they are not going to be compensated if they create some kinds of accident, because they don't have got the legal documents with them, and the insurance company, they ask the legal document with them, and in some cases they may have to go to the jail if it is the serious case. So our recommendation was the registration process should be simplified with a one window approach, and there is a need for a licensing procedure under e-rickshaw vehicles, which will guarantee their access to insurance policy, which will extend their property rights, and minimal interest rate with ease of formalities should be enabled for supporting e-rickshaw drivers and owners. E-rickshaws should be allowed to ply in the highway, because that is the place where they get a lot of passengers. So our highway is actually not highway. If we compare with the US highway or the developed country highway, because our cities are based in, our highway is based in between of the city. There should be proper e-rickshaw stands, dedicated stop, traffic management, and alternative routes for these e-rickshaw. And government should abolish the quota system and allow the market to function based on the demand and supply chain. So this was our recommendation to the policymakers. And this was the research side. And then on the advocacy side, so we write blog and articles regularly. We wrote around 6 to 7 articles for the local and national newspaper regularly to highlight the issue. So what is the situation, to sensitize the people, to sensitize the policymakers. So what kinds of things we are doing and what is the situation. So you can see Sarvaga there. So we also created the movie. We created 2 movies. One is a short movie based on the story of Kapil, the guy which I mentioned before. It is 12-minute film, and the second one is about a documentary on the e-rickshaw. So we created 2 movies to highlight the issue, and we did the solidarity with e-rickshaw drivers and unions when they were doing the protest against the rule. So you can see that Gari Khana Dev, some of you can understand that and some of you cannot understand. So Gari Khana Dev means let me earn my living. I would like to earn my living, and then please give me to earn my living. So let me earn my living. So what we did is that we give these slogans to them. When they were doing the protest, we come up with the slogans, we printed the slogans, and we give it to them. So we did the solidarity in that way. We give them these stickers to, so everyone was, putting their stickers or the printed slogans in the e-rickshaw and driving it in the market, so everyone can read, so everyone can feel that what is the situation going on. So we also did the public hearing program. It was a televised live telecast program. So we bring the traffic authorities, Department of Transport, the traders, e-rickshaw traders, and the municipal authorities at the same place. And we also bring the e-rickshaw drivers. The people who are sitting behind are the e-rickshaw drivers. So we bring them together and did the live telecast program to highlight the issue. We did the stakeholder meeting regularly. So we were engaged with the e-rickshaw drivers and the traders, the government officials, and also with the individuals, e-rickshaw drivers. So that on the second picture, so he's the mayor, city mayor of, he's the city mayor right now of Biratnagar. So this guy come to our office, and and the woman who is on the down with me. So she was from Maoist party. She was the deputy mayor candidate of the local level election. And this picture you can see that 4 guys sitting. So they were the candidate for the mayor candidate from different political parties. So now that guy in the second picture, so he is the mayor of the city, and we reach to them and we give them our research paper. We highlighted the issue. So we talked to them about what we are doing, what is the situation regularly. And also we did the social media engagement. So we tried to create a poll and try to understand what people think about the issue. So what did they think about city rickshaw problem. and we regularly posted our view on the social media. So this is how we engage people, and finally the impact was on May 26, 2016, Biratnagar sub-metropolitan city opened up the registration for 1665 e-rickshaw in Biratnagar. So this was the impact. But the battle is still on, because the metropolitan city, they believe that is creating a traffic jam in Biratnagar. So we have to stop it again. And there is a big debate going on that these e-rickshaws should not be allowed to ply in the highway because they are creating a jam. And then, so if we allow them to ply in the highway, so other people have to face the problem. So this is the big public cry, or media cry, I say the policymakers cry, and the battle is still going on. So this is just a picture I would like to show you. The government and the municipal government and the traffic authorities, they decided to ban e-rickshaw, ban e-rickshaw in the highway. And because of that reason, these e-rickshaw drivers, they took the road, or they did not provide their service for 3 days. And we come to know about the issue, and we reached to the Department of Transport directly. So the red on the down picture, so with the red T-shirt, that's me, and dealing with the authorities, Department of Transport authorities. We reached them and we discussed on the issue. We reached to the traffic police office. We reached to the municipal office, and this is the way we try to solve the problem. And we were able to defuse this strike, e-rickshaw strike. So the situation is this. Still the battle is on, and then so we have to carry on this kind of activities in the future days also. So thank you very much. So I would love to answer your questions next session.
Thank you, Basanta. We are now going to break into two small groups. So one group here and one group there. I'd like you guys to discuss in small groups for about 10 minutes some key questions you have for each of the presenters, and a few recommendations that you have for each of their projects. So we'll just spend about 10 minutes. I know we're a small group. I think we're going to be about 10 people in each group. And if you could just jot down your questions, and then we start with the question and answer. I know it's been a long day. It's been 2 days of the conference, and I'm sure this is the last session. So I'm happy to take your recommendations as well. We just wanted everybody to get a little bit flowing in the house. But I'm happy to take your recommendations. Would you like to take questions now without much discussion? Okay, so I'll invite the two panelists up on stage.
I would like to know how much on an average fee the Haqdarshak or Haqdarshak would charge.
Yeah.
And another thing related to that, how much time or the efforts, means after he or she makes an application for any of the government program, government scheme, how much time means would she or he had to spend on following up the scheme? Because I think that in India it is very difficult to get the scheme implemented. And so how much time means she had to give time for, or the efforts to visit the offices of respective government departments or whatever. So I would like to know more about it. Just in a
So the charge that the Haqdarshak entrepreneurs charge the citizens ranges from 0 to a maximum right now of 400 rupees, which is 0 to, just to give you context, it's about $50 max. And $50 is the kind of charge that we are charging for a mudra loan, which gives the citizen about close to about $1,000 to $1,500 worth of money. So, and the charge is not actually based on the benefit. The charge is based on the effort of the entrepreneur. If there are 5 visits, which is linked to your second question, if there are 5 visits required, where in the first visit she gets a physical form, second visit she fills it for the citizen, third visit she gets the connecting document, fourth visit she has to take the citizen with them, and there's a lot of, then the charge for that service will be 200-300 rupees. If it's an Aadhaar card, it's 0, because government charges 0. For a PAN card, which is like another identification proof in India, the government processing fee is 120 rupees. Our Haqdarshika charges a 50 rupee plus service fee on it. So it's very nominal. It's lower than most of the citizen service centers that the government operates. On the effort side, we initially, when we started work, we faced a lot of issues. For government prescribed caste certificates and domicile certificate, which gives the proof of your residence that you belong to this state, the citizen government centers were charging 6,000 rupees, whereas in Maharashtra it was written on the board that you can only charge 182 rupees. But they said that, it's admission time, you need the certificate, so they basically were charging about 30 times of the amount. Our entrepreneur went and said, I'm only going to pay you this. What we realized was the power of the Haqdarshak is that the person is from the same community. So he or she can very easily mobilize people. The second thing is collective ground up action. When I alone go for an application, it's an issue. When 30 people together go for an application, then it becomes a political issue. Because if you are going to deny 30 people their applications, if you are going to deny 30 people applications because of high amount, and we have seen this, then the local Gram Panchayat person gets involved. In the city level, the local corporator gets involved, because then it's an issue of electoral votes. So we try and do applications together. So rather than doing one by one applications, the entrepreneur takes 30 loan applications together and then goes to the department. At our end, we have a field team of 40 people. So in every district, we have a district coordinator whose job is to do government licensing. In any state that we work in, we first tie up with the Chief Minister's office or the highest bureaucrat and get a letter saying that, we are going to push these programs. We don't need any financial support from you. But at the time of a correct application, we will notify on your government system. Some states have an online system. Some states have a helpline, and those programs applications should be pushed on priority. So that's how our team then supports the entrepreneurs.
For this research project, we did with the support of Atlas Network. Actually, it was very minimal support. I say that it was around $1,500 per one paper, research paper at that time. And so for the revenue model, yes, sometimes we do raise in-kind support for other activities. It's not for the research purpose. Just like we do partnership with the hotels for our programs. So we ask for the individual support. That is what we do. But in case of this research project, so it was supported by Atlas Network.
Thank you, both of you, Aniket and Basant, for giving presentations on two very important issues of the livelihood of the people and the government schemes, how it can have an extended outreach and better impact with and better with the market-driven model. First, Basant, I would like to ask, because this is a very good project, which I find from the policymakers' angle also, because they are now trying to go for from fossil fuel based transportation to something which is not creating much of a pollutions and all. So you have done it only in the Biratnagar. So suppose if you take it for the entire state, country as a whole, Nepal, have you worked out that how much how many livelihoods it would create? And then how much finance they can have it, because you have also some microfinance institutions, I guess, or even some private financier also would be willing to fund. Also, there are some agencies who are doing it, because you told that cooperatives, the rate of interest is very high. So have you done some sort of an extended year, because it is 1,500 or 2,000 which I could find. Of course, you have done in a very limited area, but I found it is a great potential where you can convince the government that look, I can create jobs, self-employed opportunities to 20,000 people or 30,000 people. Like self-help group women is also there in Nepal, I guess. There are a lot of women's groups or other farmers groups. Those will be interested on that here. Did you have some thought on that?
We haven't thought in that way. So actually, definitely, it depends on the resources, how much resource we have got to conduct those kind of, to scale up the research, because research is always going to be, it's going to be costly. we only have got a limited resource, so that's why we conducted that in Biratnagar. So that was our limitations. We could have gone further, but we could not go further because. But this is going to be a kind of example that Biratnagar municipality they opened their registration, so that can help to that can inspire to other places also. So so that is why we created our videos. So we cannot reach every places. So that's why we try to capture through the visual means and then spread the message in our society. To our stakeholders, but if we can do it in the larger base, that can be more effective.
Okay, I have two questions for each of the panelists. I think first to Aniket. So what were the big challenges in setting up a for-profit model, especially when the different stakeholders are the government, the beneficiary, and you guys as a for-profit agency?
So actually, I have actually started my career with non-profits and primarily in education for the first 5-6 years. So I started working on this idea as a non-profit organization that still exists. The biggest challenge we felt, there are two things. One was ecosystem. The ecosystem in India in 2014-15 was, as they say, very hot for startups. Anywhere you could go and you pitch and you get a grant. Non-profit, this vicious cycle that non-profits go in this country, in India, and I don't know about other countries, but in India, is that you need to apply for a grant, you need these two certificates called 12A and ATG. And to get 12A and ATG, the government asks what is the work you've done. Unless and until you tie up with a sister organization, I'm talking about young people who want to start NGOs. That's a big issue. And when I started with my co-founder, we were about 23, 24, and honestly knocked the door of everyone, and everybody said that unless you have a big philanthropist backing you, you can't really start this. And luckily we found a very good third co-founder, PR Ganapati, who is one of the leading social impact investors in India, and he backed us with the idea and he started this. The other, I think, push that I felt was, so I worked with back-to-back with one non-profit education startup, was the first team member there, and then a for-profit education startup. At the time I was doing this foundation. And a big difference, maybe it's mindset, maybe it's the donor or funder ask. I found that the for-profit startups somehow, and compared to non-profit startups, give a lot more push to data. And today, we get a lot of our contracts and money and partnerships, and the reason we have been able to scale to 10 states has been our push with data. Like, we are able to present everything in terms of numbers. And I believe that data is the most subjective thing. You can actually go deep down in your project and come up with all kinds of numbers. Data is not objective. Data is subjective, but data is very important. So those things like really made us like push to start a for-profit enterprise. And there, fortunately, as I said, like at the time when we started, the ecosystem was such that we were able to apply for a government grant. And I think a lot of, again, credit goes to the ecosystem built not only by this government in the last 5 to 6 years in India, where young startups can actually go to incubation centers, and we got a 7 lakh grant from IIM Ahmedabad. No questions asked. You can do what you want in terms of product development. We took that up in the first 4 months and then kind of got a lot of support. The other thing in terms of a for-profit, the reason of starting and how we were able to sustain is I want to briefly touch upon this other very untapped partnership between foundations and for-profit social enterprises. 90% of our partners are foundations.
And what kind of foundations?
So this is the Tata Trust, Pradhan, Save the Children, CRISIL Foundation. And the reason is that, for example, let's take an example of Pradhan. Now, Pradhan was one of the 5 organizations in India which got a €5 million grant from EU to do citizen service, research, citizen service. They had to set up centers, the other organizations being Digital Empowerment Foundation and a few others which are working very, and they do great work. So the budget that they had to do a project in Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand was close to about $2 million. We did the entire project for them, and we continue doing it in about $100,000 using technology. And all we had to do was that we had to come up with a service contract with the foundation, become the technology partner to set up everything. And now the foundation is doing it on its own. The federations are using it. They pay us a small licensing fee to maintain the platform, and all the revenue is earned by their federations. All the impact is done by the federations. The licensing, of course, is done. And that's where I feel for-profit social enterprises, a lot of times there is like starting a non-profit and moving to a for-profit. I think we have been, and I would say, been able to because of our ecosystem, some things that we tried and continuous push in terms of reaching out to all these foundations. That's a big untapped partnership scope that a lot of times, can really lead to very good work in terms of scale and in terms of impact.
And the last question is, you did mention in terms of your impact that you've also been, through this 1 year's program, you've been able to generate a lot of livelihood for women, right? I just wanted to understand, what are the figures like for these women in terms of like income per month or per year?
So on an average, the women earn, as I said, about $80 to $100, which translates to about 4,000 to 5,000, 5,500 rupees on an average. We have women entrepreneurs who earn 20,000, 25,000. Obviously, if we train 100 women, only 50 end up being active by the third month, and that's the reality. So not all our networks are active, because some people, a lot of times what we have found is that they're not allowed by their husbands or in-laws in villages to go and do this, charge money. Why are you charging money? So half of them have to drop out for that reason. Half of them have to drop out because their phones are taken by their husbands when they go to work. And I'm talking about, so a lot of other ecosystem issues are also there. So they earn that much. Overall, the number is about 40 lakhs. Where we're able to generate. The other very important thing is that our pricing is zero. So for example, for a PAN card, which again is identification document, the service fee is 0 to 200. So being an entrepreneur, what we've realized again, talking to our entrepreneurs, is that they don't want us to prescribe a fixed rate. We are not paying them a salary. So while we need to cap a maximum rate, saying that you can't charge 201, but the entrepreneur being in the same community wants to give this card for free for someone. We are allowing that. We are saying, we are prescribing a 0 to 200 rate. This is my cousin. I want to give this card at a subsidized rate. This is and I will take the money later from them. So that's the kind of freedom that we are giving them. So they end up, getting a lot of support from the community. The other thing that we have seen, in terms of, again talking about the community entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs that we have seen, is a couple of them have fought Gram Panchayat elections now. Okay. Because one of the things that we want to do by promoting this Haqdarshak entrepreneur, obviously, we still need to work a lot on the checks and balances. They are not all perfect. We have a helpline, we have monitoring evaluation, but we don't want this Haqdarshak to become the know-it-all of all, and then end up being a monopoly, so that they start overcharging. But at the same time, the goal is, if somebody educated who knows about government programs, private programs, community engagement programs, becomes an elected representative at the rural or urban community level, that again can make a big impact. So that's the other thing that we are trying to do, and there has been a lot of support that we have found in the self-help groups of this country, because there are two clear advantages of self-help groups in India. One, they at one side they are massive in scale. At the second side, any self-help group at the local level is very, very strong. The second big advantage of working with a self-help group is that they have very easy access to finance. The loans that governments give to SHGs is at a much better rate, because the risk is covered by everyone. Risk is covered by a self-help group. So that's the other thing that helps women generate this employment, and so even if for 3 months the woman entrepreneur has just earned, say, 3,000 rupees collectively, the chances are the self-help group will support her, because the other members are earning well. So they collectively pool in their money. So we're trying to work even more with these self-help groups.
Thank you. And I have two last questions for Basanta. One is, have you all also studied how many other types of rickshaws there are in Biratnagar besides e-rickshaws? And is there a cap on their quota as well? And are they your allies or are they competitors here?
In the past, I think there was around 10 to 12,000 rickshaws, pedal rickshaw in Biratnagar. But now I think that because of the e-rickshaw and their efficient service and the cost-effective service, so they are totally replaced, I say. And many of those e-rickshaw drivers, they have switched to this new profession. I mean to say that on the e-rickshaw. And in the beginning, yes, they were a kind of competitors because they didn't wanted to, see these e-rickshaw. Not only these pedal rickshaw, but other means of transport also they see as a competitor because, if I have to go to India border, so the means of transport was, minibus. And then that was charging around 15-20 rupees, and then it was a kind of hell to be on the bus because it was so packed and the people cannot, and you may lost your belongings. It was you don't get the seats, and it was because it was a syndicate. There was a syndicate, so because of that reason you don't get the seats freely or easily. But when this e-rickshaw came, they just charged 30 rupees for the border, and the pedal rickshaw was charging 80 rupees if you have to go to there, so you have to pay 80 rupees. So it means that it's cost effective and it's also comfortable. So people choose to be in the e-rickshaw. So, and Biratnagar is a hot place, and if you can be in the e-rickshaw, then you can also have a fresh air. So people choose to this rickshaw because of that reason. And then now I think I see only it's a pedal rickshaw in Biratnagar. It's just like a dinosaur. It's gonna be extinct soon. That is what I believe. And now for other competitors, there are some other new means of transport, just like Pagio that has been introduced newly. And I'm sure they will take e-rickshaw sooner or later.
Okay. And the final question is, in India there is a study which cites that where to buy an auto rickshaw, right, costs only about 1.5 lakhs. The cost of an auto rickshaw is just about that much, right? But by the time the person gets all the registration done, pays all the bribes, gets all the paperwork done, it actually costs about 4.5 lakhs. So have you studied the cost it takes for the rickshaw wallet to kind of get everything in order, besides just the cost of the e-rickshaw?
From our understanding, so they have to pay, it depends on the model of the e-rickshaw that I already mentioned, that 1700, from 1700 to 3500 it cost. But I'm sure that would not have cost so much because these e-rickshaw are not, so powerful. It's supposed to be, it's supposed to ride on the plain road. And the condition of our road is so worse. Yesterday, Suraj Bhai was also saying that the potholes are much bigger than the cars. He was mentioning that. And, I think that the first thing is they are charging much money, even the traders, or what is the reason, we have to identify that one. But yes, they have to pay that money, and later on, not much I guess, but surplus they have to pay 8 to 10,000 rupees in the name of registration or insurance policy. So everyone is paying, but they don't know why they are paying because they are poor rickshawalas and then poor people who are not well educated and they don't know is their registration available or not. But what the traders how the traders are selling is that they are having a good connection with the government people and they are saying these e-rickshaw, okay, if you buy these e-rickshaw, then I will get you the registration. Yeah, even if there is no registration right now, I will get you. So don't worry. So you just pay 10,000 rupees, 12,000 rupees, 15,000 or 8,000 rupees. So I will get you registration. I will get you some other things, just like the required, whatever is required, you will get it. So you don't worry for that one. So the extra money they are paying in the name of registration and all.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Yeah, good day.
But they can charge the citizen.
So, it have a negative impact in the village itself because one will know how much the neighbor has paid. And what is the rationale behind making it illegal?
So we, as I said, have an upper limit on the pricing, and then we more or less tell them on the app that for this scheme the cost is say 100 rupees. The only reason to allow flexible pricing is, as I said, because community the kind of number of families Haqdarshak targets is 500, and 50 families on an average they know very well. So they don't want to charge them, in the sense they want to charge them less or charge them. So basically, it's just like for any service today, whether it's Uber or all these, there is a discount option. So we have created discounts. Haqdarshak can actually click on their own app and say, I've given you a discount of 40%. So that's at the Haqdarshak's discretion. So she will just click on the app and then say that I'm giving you 50% discount, 100% discount, 10% discount. To some people, she say, I'm not giving a discount. I don't have a code. So we have tried, rather than making it very, very subjective, we have said, okay, it is subjective as a choice, but at least on the technology front, you use a discount code for our, because then it helps us record data also how much earning she's done. Otherwise, we can't record, we are doing an estimate for you.
Any more questions? Yes, Bino.
I find that your model is more like a bank's business correspondent model. Like there will be clients and serving, and they will be trying to pass the product, which is extremely exciting. I find it very, it is very good. I find that in India, 8.9 million circus books are there. Now it has gone up also, and we from NABARD also, because NABARD was the first year to promote that circus book in India. And even Professor Mohammed Yunus also said that their model is very good because it is cost effective. That's what we are told. Because many of the models of private microfinance, they have done good work, like Bandhan, they have done to a bank. But in other countries, some of the microfinance have become a loan shark. That's what I find that was a good thing. But in your case, like suppose if I just give you a proposal, which I was discussing with you, a mudra loan, corporate is interested to reach out. That is the value that has announced here, and see you. And 8.9 million. Can you tell me some sort of business model which can really generate extremely exciting model?
So the Rajasthan project I was talking about, we are working on this project where in India there is this mudra loan scheme. Essentially, it gives about $1,000 worth of loan to the citizen at a very nominal interest rate, which again, if they are not able to pay back, there are guarantors. So they are not hounded. It's a small amount. It's 8% interest rate, which the citizen can start paying from the second and third month. And this year, from the budget, the government has increased it 6 times to give more mudra loans. So what we are doing for the 9,800 Haqdarshikas we have to set up in Rajasthan. With government, we have, again, adding to my point in the presentation, we have found very easy to work with the government. But one thing I want to add here is only non-financial agreements. In financial agreements, it's very difficult to work with the government to get money. But all the kind of other support we have been able to get. So in this project also, what we are doing is we're getting each of these Haqdarshikas $1,000, 50,000 rupee loan. Out of this $1,000, she is going to spend about 20% on training fee and access fee for the year. 20% to buy a smartphone, a biometric device, portable printer. 40% on buying a scooty, cycle or a means of transport. And 10,000 rupees we are going to deposit in her name in a post office savings account. We've got a big foundation in India to underwrite the entire loan, which basically means that if they are not able to pay back the EMI, they will ensure that they are paid a stipend for the first 3 to 6 months. So then what happens is, with the bank money, like an entrepreneur, they are taking a loan, investing in a business. Obviously, as a private enterprise, we are getting more and more services. So like a lot of banking services, we are getting them to do a lot of eKYC services which are going to give them quick return on their money, like field services. So idea is that they should be able to pay back that $10, $12 per month EMI for the next 5 years. And through this mudra loan scheme of the government itself, we'll be able to finance these Haqdarshak entrepreneurs. So they will be using the money upfront. So it's not we don't have to raise money from either an equity investor or from a big grant. The money is already there with the government.
Any more questions? All right. Thank you, Aniket and Basanta. And with that, it's a wrap. I look forward to meeting each one of you at the Freedom Dinner at 7 o'clock in the main ballroom. Okay, we want to take a picture of the audience as well. Okay, just the speakers. Thank you.